Uber.
As Gary Dover checks his phone, it is only a few days away from Sharks v Canterbury at Shark Stadium. Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. I'm Sam Shinazz, OG 2015. This is Gary Dover. He's an OG from way back too. Welcome to SharkCast, Gaz and Shinazz. I'm Shinazz, he's Gaz. He's Gaz, I'm Shinazz. How are you, man? What's going on?
Good. We're back. Another episode of the Gaz and Shinazz show coming to you live from Shark Stadium. I'm going good. Another great week in Sharkland and lots to talk about.
They're coming around thick and fast, and we got the Dogs this week, but coming off a very comprehensive win against the South Sydney Rabbitohs, 27 points to 12. Tricky Trindle just down there with the sneaky field goal at the end. What did you make of that performance, Gary?
I thoroughly enjoyed the first 40 minutes. I thought we were exactly playing the game that we needed to play. There was aggression in our defense. We were taking our opportunities when they presented themselves. And yeah, I think if we can put that 40 minutes into a 60, 70-minute performance, we'll beat most sides in the competition. So I was pretty happy with what I saw.
So upon deeper analysis of the game, Gary, we had two significant injuries in the second half.
Yes.
And that meant guys like Atkinson coming on playing hooker, doing an admirable job, but things were quite different in that second half. And I feel like that contributed to the slower half from us. So I don't think it was the disaster some people kind of thought it might be. You already had some critics and media people saying, oh, well, they're going to have to learn to do this in two halves. And yes, you absolutely need to. But at no point in that game were South Sydney any chance of even coming close to winning. They scored a try from a quick tap and a try from a grubber kick, I think. The defensive system was fine.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with that performance, and I was pretty happy. The first half, the heat here was unbearable.
I was about to say it was a very
if
hot
I'm going
day.
to be in that kind of heat, there's no place else I'd rather be. But that aside, ridiculously hot weather, I think they did pretty good. The handling was really good. They were at about 81%, I think, by the end of the game. But for the majority of the game, they were higher. And a good performance all out. Our halves were very dominant, but let's talk about the back five. They were electric.
Look out.
Starting with Will Kennedy, who's climbing up the Dally M player leaderboard, and he's winning over a lot of, I think, some fans that were a bit indifferent to how he fits into the system. He's winning them over week by week, which is great. Obviously needs to keep doing it, but what did you make of the back five? I just thought that was the big difference.
Yeah, they were the difference, definitely. You got guys like Ronaldo Mulatalo picking the ball up one-handed and getting out of the in-goal and all that sort of stuff, but those guys are making the hard meters off the back of our forwards, laying a good platform. And yeah, as we said, like back in the preview shows at the start of the year, when you've got a guy like Adam Fanua-Blake and some other forwards around him that are trying to stick up to that level that Adam's putting out, it's going to create a bit of space. And that's when we see guys like Will Kennedy and Ronnie play their best footy, when they've got a bit of space to move. We see Blake Brayley running a bit more, even though he doesn't always get those 6-again calls that he probably should. There was a few of those that, he took off, and I thought he was well within his rights to get a penalty there. But, that's the way the game goes. But I think, the platform that's being laid up the front is allowing those back five to just make the meters and the plays that we need them to. They're creating space for themselves, as you can see, throwing wild balls halfway across the field, Sam Stone Street to Will there, and another good pickup. But I think they're just playing with a lot of confidence at the moment, and you can see it on the field.
It's going to be fascinating, Gary, to see how much of they do that throughout the year, even in this game against the Bulldogs. Is that going to be now part of their repertoire, or do they just sort of play their cards close to their chest and do it just when they see it? Because they obviously saw a weakness there.
Yeah.
They had Ravalawa in with his first week. He wasn't there very long at the club, I don't think, as far as training and that kind of goes. And he was
where the trial line is.
He forgot where the trial line was, bless him. But he was sort of deer in headlights, and that creates issues for Campbell Graham, who's a great defender. But when his wingers and him are a bit indifferent to what's going on, and I think the Sharks saw that.
Yeah,
and I am fascinated though where we move forward with this kind of trickery.
I think speaking of trickery, you spoke to our Tricky Trindle earlier in the week. If no one's listening, go and grab that interview. It was a great one. He mentioned, when the back five see an opportunity, they're taught to take it. So I think, there was plenty of opportunity there on the weekend that, there was half a sniff, have a crack. And I think that's what we're going to see throughout the year. If there's half a chance there, the guys are going to back themselves and give it a go. But I think there is still a level of structure and game plan that they'll stick to. But yeah, when there's a bit of space like that on the outside, those guys are going to back themselves every day of the week.
I want to give a shout out to Coach Fitz, which I am prone to do. But you think about when he came into the club, I guess, well, this is his 4th season at least. So a while ago now. But he came into a system where it wasn't far removed from what we have now as far as the players go.
Mm-hmm.
Majority of the players were here when he arrived. And he publicly said, and to his credit, kept his word. He didn't change the way they played. He definitely brought in a more concrete style of defense, which is finally evident this year, week in, week out. But these guys have been playing this kind of football for years in the lower grades, and then up in the John Morris era, and then with Fitzy. And it's starting to really find success. But yeah, the way they played last week, play what you see. Some coaches would just reel that in and go, no. Make your 10 meters, quick play the ball, like play by the structure and the rule book, that kind of thing. Whereas Fitzy's like, no, to an extent, I think you can do whatever you want. I think he obviously has the things that he wants to see. He wants to know where he's going to kick from and that kind of thing, and what to do in that circumstance. But I just wanted to say the way they played last week, I don't know if a lot of coaches would necessarily let that become a pattern.
It reminded me of the days when those boys were playing NYC and they would, record-breaking point-scoring seasons, and they were just so full of confidence in everything that they did. As soon as they got the ball, they were trying things, and that's part of the game that over the last couple of years, I think I've enjoyed watching those boys play. And I think, now that it's translating into the NRL space, it's scintillating to watch, as we heard Michael Ennis on the commentary say after that length of the field try. And I think there'll be more of that throughout the year. I think they're going to back themselves. I think they're playing with a lot of confidence. And when you've got a roll on like you do at the moment, why change things up?
Yeah, so let's see what happens this week against the Bulldogs. And that's who we are playing. They are top of the table. They're undefeated. Mm-hmm. They are missing some big stars, which I personally, I'm one of those people that go, awesome, good fortune for us. Doesn't mean a win, doesn't mean an easy win. But I personally, I'm just that's who I am. I know the players would think differently. The players would be like, "What are you talking about, Shinazz? We want to beat the best."
Absolutely.
I couldn't care less. I just want to win. So, no Matt Burton, who really is the central piece to their attack. Obviously, they're kicking as well, although we'll get to that in a minute. And Viliama Kikau, who's just a beast like in attack and defense. His kick chase is unbelievable as well. Yeah. So they're going to be missing them big time. You saw them. I wouldn't say they struggled against the Eels last week, but it was a close contest against the Eels team, which has just been not great this year. So maybe Para were a bit better last week. Maybe the Dogs had to come down a little bit. Yeah. But I don't mind that matchup of missing those guys.
Yeah. I think if we're getting them at a point in the season when they're missing those two out on the field, that's probably the best time to be playing them. And as you said, like for yourself and myself, I just want to win 2 points. At the end of the day, I don't care who's on the field, who's not. And I think if we can get them at a time like now, it's the perfect time to play the Bulldogs.
So speaking of kicking like I was, Toby Sexton last week, he literally kicked for more than 1,000 meters in a game. And that's not something that happens very often. And that can mean a whole bunch of things. That can mean that they have one kicker, obviously. That can mean he's really good at it. The ball traveled a lot.
Yeah.
But no matter how you look at it, he got through the kicking. He got him in good places. So I think a bit like the opposite of last week, we wanted the kick pressure on Joe Gray, which was amazing. This week, we want the pressure on the kicker. Because if he is their number one guy, which he is this week, clearly.
Well, he has to be, right?
Then if he's under pressure every time he kicks it, he's not going to get 1,000 meters.
Yeah, and I think, playing a night game, obviously we spoke about the heat a little bit earlier, but playing a night game out here, we'll probably have a bit more energy for most of the game. And I think we can put those sorts of guys under pressure and hopefully come away with a bit more ball and a bit more points.
So 7:35 kickoff down at Sharks Stadium. Now, we can tell you that the weather will be a little bit rainy that day. There is no reason that Sharks fans should not be here. It's going to be, I would imagine, a full house. Canterbury fans are going to come in their waves. They're undefeated. And
nearly sold out.
They're probably the most passionate supporter base. It's almost sold out.
It's almost sold out.
So get your tickets.
Don't have a ticket. Make sure you grab a ticket ASAP because I can see it selling out in the next day or two.
Excellent. And just looking at the teams, Gary, the Sharks are as to how they ran out last week.
Yep.
But on the extended bench, we have Jaden Beryl, Mawini Hiroti, Hohepa Puru, Toby Rudolph returns to the main list of players, and of course Billy Burns. So that's the extended bench. The immediate bench is Dan Atkinson, Sifa Talakai, Tall Tom Hazelton returns, and Tuku Haitapua. We believe that Sifa is more likely to play than not play, but that'll be probably a game day decision, if not a captain's run decision tomorrow.
Yeah, he's got a bit of work to get through, but obviously they wouldn't have named him if there wasn't a chance for him to play. So hopefully he can tick all the boxes that he needs to, because without a guy like Braden and with Tom, who's obviously just coming back from a bit of back soreness and a bit of a back issue there, we need all the big boys out there that we can get. So if there's any chance of him being, further injured or anything like that, I don't think they'll play him. But at the moment, he's moving towards possibly running out on the field, which is great news.
Now, we do send our love and respect to Braden Hamlin-Welly. He had an injury last week. We believe it'll be, I guess, between 4 and 8 weeks. That's Dr. Shinazz talking, no one else. But he's a good buddy of the show, and he was having a really great game. Like, don't let that fact become unknown. Like, he was having a really strong return to what he used to be.
Yeah, he was running hard. He was up over 100 meters, I believe, and, tackling hard, running hard. He was in and about, and I think coming off those first 2 games that he played, he was out there with a bit of a point to prove, and you could see it with the aggression that he was running with, the aggression that he was tackling with, and, that's the Braden Hamlin-Welly that we love, and that's the one that we need out on the field. So hopefully he gets better quicker rather than later, and we can see him back out there.
Looking at the Dogs team, Gary, former Shark Connor Tracy, Blake Wilson, former Shark Bronson Jerry, Steve Crichton, captain, and Marcelo Montoya. That's their back five. So they're handy. There's no doubt that's all very good and handy. The halves, we will get them, and that is Bailey Hayward and Toby Sexton, with all respect. And their forward pack, it's a very honest forward pack. I think out of this lot that I'm looking at, Daniel Saluka Fafita is probably the biggest sort of bopper amongst them, and maybe the most dangerous in that effect. The other guys are very workmanlike. I'm not putting shade on them. I feel like we'll have more size on our side, which is always handy.
Yeah, for sure.
And then look at their bench: Kurt Mann, Harry Hayes, Satilia Tupanua, and Curtis Morin. Again, a pretty honest bench there. Not the biggest bench I've ever seen. And if our one stays the same, aside from Atko, you got Talakai, Hazelton, and Tuku. So that's a monstrous bench.
Huge bench. 2 big boys in Tom Hazelton and Tuku Hautapua, and obviously Sifa's just a little wrecking ball. So, even Atko's put on a bit of size. He's playing a bit through the middle, playing a bit of hooker. So there's a few different roles out there for Atko at the moment. But yeah, I think when you look at the sides on paper, we've definitely got a bit of an edge, and we need to make sure that we go out and show that on the weekend.
Our halves were terrific last week, and they're getting the accolades they finally have been coming. We think they should have been coming for a while, but they're finally getting them. What I'm trying to say, Nico Hines and Braden Trindle, both equally standout games for the year. Trindle got 2 40-20s, which is pretty hard to do. It's hard enough to get one. He got 2. And Nico was just sublime, scored the first try through a solo run and setting up a lot of other things as well. His goal kicking was pretty good, 3 from 5, but 3 really hard ones.
Yeah.
Hey, there's the GOAT. The GOAT of Cronulla is right down there.
The G train.
Paul Gallen is in the house. Are we allowed to say that?
Of course. This is his house, isn't it?
It's his house. Keep hydrating.
Right to walk around here whenever he needs
to. Keep hydrating, my man. Looks like you need to.
He must have
because you've been working out so much. Also, can we just, this is Bulldog Sharks. Let's talk about that. A certain boxer waiting 14 years to say yes to our GOAT. That doesn't sit well with me, Gary.
It doesn't sit well with me either. I don't like it. I don't think it's the right time for the fight, but Gal's one of those guys who wouldn't go into it if he wasn't prepared. And we've seen, all throughout his career, what type of a guy Gallen is when it comes to his preparation and his planning and everything that he needs to do to get ready for a match or a fight, whatever it is that he's doing. So, if he thinks he can go out there and win, I fully back him. And I've seen what he can do in the ring enough to know that, if he can land a couple of punches there and cop a few too, I think he'll get through all right and get the win. But yeah, it's coming a bit late from old Sonny Bill there.
I think they're down to 30-second rounds.
It's it's a joke. He should have taken it a lot earlier and manned up. But anyway, unfortunately, here we are.
This isn't Boxcast. This is SharkCast, but we do love the GOAT. The GOAT's in the house, which is awesome. Gary, the field is looking amazing again.
It is.
Last week, if you saw the show, we were telling you about the drones. This week, the drones have been here. They've done their job.
Been and gone.
And so have the technicians on the field. And it looks amazing. So no matter what the weather is on Saturday, you're going to have a good pitch. I'm confident. Are you confident of that, Gary? I'm confident.
Absolutely. We've got some great people out here in Green Options that put together the field. And
love Green Options.
Just take a look. What more do you want?
Now, we did we did preview, premiere, spoiler the fact that Panetta Mercado were on board, and those that are at the ground or those watching from the hard cam would have seen it. We're not going to show it to you right now, but it's just over there. Did you have any feedback, Gary, about the Panetta Mercado signage, which looks beautiful?
I haven't heard anything on it, but it's a great sign for them. It stands out on that black wall over there, and I've worked out where it is up in the new Kirrawee shopping precinct up there. It's like a little fruit, almost like a fruit store up there, fruit and vegetables. So
tell them SharkCast sent you. They'll give you an extra apple or something. And yeah, the ground looks amazing. So if you haven't got your ticket, come down and grab a ticket online and come down and have a great night, because there's a very special team you got here, Gary. I wanted to just focus on that for a second as well.
Yes.
I rewatched the game this morning against South Sydney, and I had the same feelings I had watching it live and through a few other watchings during the week. But this morning I had the same immense amount of pride, and that was, again, with those long-range tries, the spirit and the efforts that they went to score those tries. Like the Kale Iro stuff, that wasn't easy. He made it look easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy. And all of them, like there was the one where Will Kennedy scored, and it was pointed out to us during the week on the show that a bunch of the guys were sort of over near Stone Street. I think Nico might have been. And he made his way all the way up during the play to be there to get the ball to pass it to Will Kennedy to score.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like those efforts are great. It's only round 3, but what I'm feeling, and I've got the little goosies just talking about it, is this really could be a very special team and a special year. I'm not going to say more than that, but you know where I'm going, because it's been a long time, I think, since we've felt that way. Like you could maybe say 2018. You know what? You could maybe even say 2022. But it just seems like we have the right guys at the right time with the right coach.
Yeah.
We're missing a few guys. We know Sione's out there fishing, and don't worry, he's resting the bad shoulder. It's the shoulder, right?
It is, yes.
He's using the good shoulder to reel him in. We're missing a few other guys. But the squad they have and the depth they have, guys like Billy Burns who can't get a go. Guys like Hohepo can't get a go.
Yeah.
Even Nephi's having a really great season with the Jets. So the depth is there.
Jesse Colquhoun named for the Jets this week.
Jesse Colquhoun is back, baby. And you try and stop him from getting into that 17. I give him 2 to 3 weeks, and he'll be bursting through those shed doors.
He's keen.
So look out. If you're on that bench, he's coming for you.
Tobes is on, obviously, jersey 20, 21, whatever he's in. Like, there's guys knocking down the door. So.
Yep. So Toby might play. He might play for the Jets. Who knows what's going to happen there? They're still working that stuff out. But point is a lot of depth.
Special year, as you mentioned. And a lot of depth. Obviously, for me, it started during preseason. It was a little bit different feel this year, and they were doing a few things differently, obviously, because of Vegas and the shortened timelines and the way they wanted to prepare for that game. And I think, I haven't seen the team as fit and as hungry as they are this year in a few years. So it's exciting times. Yeah,
and you want to be amongst it. You want to say that you're at the games if you can get to them. You want to say you're watching them live. You're with that special friend, that special person. If you don't have that, you're by yourself. You're watching it, loving life, because this team they're looking pretty good. It's only round 3. I get it. I get it. We're going to learn more. We got the Dogs. They're a decent team. And then we got Canberra away, which we seem to do really easily, but it's actually not an easy trip. It's a short turnaround.
Thursday night down there, yeah.
And we got Perth with Manly. So they're not easy games nor easy situations.
Yeah,
but the Sharks are just knocking it out of the park. Like, okay, we lost in Vegas. We lost by a hair. Like, we really should have won. We know that. We should have won.
Yeah, there was a few little things that we could have fixed up, but obviously that's behind us now. We've got to move forward. And as you mentioned, there's a few big games coming up, short turnaround, and then into a long trip into Perth. It seems like the boys like to travel a bit, though. They like getting around each other. They like hanging out in the hotel and in the team room, playing ping pong, whatever it is that they're doing. There's that camaraderie and that brotherhood that's within the camp at the moment it's great to see. And over the years, it's just been building and building, and it's at a point now where we're starting to see, those combinations that we saw through NYC, through New South Wales Cup, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, they're translating onto the NRL field, and it's so far so good 3 rounds into the season.
Now, we do want to give Jesse Ramian a shout out. It's his 150th NRL game. So he played one season with the Knights and didn't like it there and came back. So that was in between. He
man.
started with us, went there, came back, thankfully. But shout out to Jesse. This team takes milestones pretty seriously.
Yeah, they definitely celebrate them the way they should be celebrated, and they make sure that they go out there and put in a type of performance that they should for their brother when it's a milestone or a special occasion, debut, those sorts of things. And Fitz crew like to put in a bit of effort and what's the word? Like they definitely celebrate it before the game and make sure that that player and the team knows how special it is to make that milestone and what an achievement it is. Even if it is 50 games, 100 games, whatever the number is, they know that it's a special time to be playing NRL, and yeah, they celebrate it accordingly.
He'll have a monster game, and he's been great in every game. His center mate, I think, stole the limelight from everyone, including him last week, and rightfully so. Kale was unbelievable.
He was.
But Jesse was fantastic, and I just feel like in his 150th game, he'll have another one. His family and friends will be here. He's a proud family man, and
Best center pairing in the NRL.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Who's that down there? Is that Max?
That is Max Bradbury.
Max Bradbury. So he suffered a lot of injuries in his time at the Sharks. Came here from the Knights mid-season, if you remember, a while back. Terrific human and terrific player. I also think that he's going to be a guy that's going to strengthen up our middles at some point. He needs some time back, obviously, in lower grades.
And this other guy coming out as well.
That looks like Cade Dykes to me.
Be interested to see how he goes this year once he gets back on the field. So
he's actually looking pretty good there, pretty healthy.
Yeah, they're all starting to get healthy, which is a good time. You know, sometimes it's the back end of the year where you start getting people healthy off the back of injuries, but we've had a lot of work put into these boys during pre-season and making sure that, you know, guys like Ronnie and Britt missed their New Zealand camps and put the team first. And we're starting to see, you know, that was a pretty good decision when we're starting the year like we are, and boys are feeling fresh.
Things like that. And even some of the boys missed the Indigenous game, which is, you guys and girls know how big that is for people representing in that game. So sacrifices like that, just an endorsement on what's happening down here.
It's team first.
I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite NRLW players, Rhiannon Byers. She's re-signed, I think, for 2 years.
Yeah, till the end of 27.
And she's a terrific mainly edge back rower.
Yeah.
And she's had a few injuries in her time, but when we've seen her play, she's been just lights out. I'm a huge fan. And
strong ball carrier, runs good lines, solid in defense. So
along
it's
with
great to have her
Tale Holmes, like what a great
two good edges
couple of back rowers right there. Fantastic stuff. LW will be here before you know it. We'll be covering it.
Quick.
We'll be covering it as much as we can, hopefully as much as we do the NRL. There's no there's no exclusivity here between one or the other. We're just Sharks, and we love Sharks football. So that'll come around real quick, Gary. And more teams in the comp this year. Canterbury's got a team.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of other teams. Obviously, they took a few girls from us, but it'll be interesting to see how those new teams go. And, you know, it's always good to see the NRLW expanding and getting a few more teams in the competition. And, you know, the quality of football that we've seen grow over the last few years it's been exponential. So it's great to see, and I'm really looking forward to another season. Hopefully we can build on what was a historic year for us, playing our first NRLW grand final. I think, you know,
speaking of should have won games,
so close. But the girls are, you know, they know how close they came and they know what they're capable of. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, what they do this year, because I think we're in for another special year in what could be a very big and special year for the club itself across all grades.
All right. This is Gaz and Shinazz. He's Gaz, I'm Shinazz. We are Sharks through and through. We can't wait for the weekend. We'll see you down here at the Dogs coming to Shark Stadium. It's going to be awesome. If you haven't got a ticket, grab a ticket. It'll be a sellout.
It will be. And
just do your bit to support this great club. They do a lot for us as fans as far as providing entertainment and just fulfillment when they win, and when they lose, they give us a lot of emotion. So throw that back at them when you're down here. Let them know you're here. That's for sure. Because the Dogs fans will be loud. They'll be boisterous. There might be a drum or two here.
They're always very loud.
Make sure you let them know that the Sharks are here and this is our town. Gary, thanks. I appreciate it. I know you haven't got any time.
Thanks for having me.
So we will speak to you very soon. And you can get all of our episodes on any podcast app. You can watch us on the YouTube. If you're not watching us, you can listen to us on the YouTube sometimes.
How good's the new website?
New website, sharkcast.com.au. So that is your home for everything. That's like the place you go if you just want to have a nice, safe home for SharkCast. We're on all the socials, which isn't always safe, but if you're grown up enough and etc., then go find us on the socials. You can always drop us a line, sharkcastpod@gmail.com, or DM us on those places. On the website, Gary, you can leave an email really easily. And the other thing you can do, which I haven't been talking about enough, is you can leave a voicemail. And so what that means is you hit record, you go, hey, Shinazz, love the Sharks, up, whatever. Obviously, I'd rather have your opinions and your thoughts. But you can leave us a message that will be played on the show, and it'll be more on the audio side of things. And we'll cut that up nice and keep it as brief as you can. Keep it to 30 seconds to a minute if you can. But that is on there. It's super easy to do. So
I'm going to go give that a crack.
Yeah.
I'd really enjoy that.
Fun. It's fun. And as soon as you do it, I get the email, MP3 email. So it's very easy for people who aren't tech savvy, don't have microphones lying around, etc. So you'll sound nice and great. I'll make you sound nice and great. SharkCast Pod, we love you guys and girls. Thank you for your time. Gary, thank you for your time. Shark Stadium, thank you for your time. I love you so much.
We'll be back.
I love you.
Saturday. See you there.
Up Cronulla. Can't wait for Saturday night. Let's go. Let's hit and record. We're going to go up Cronulla. And as soon as I hit this button, this is technology.
Yeehaw.
See you guys later.